What's up everyone, welcome to the video. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to scan film with an Epson V850 Pro flatbed scanner, but this is going to work for any flatbed scanners, so stay tuned. I'm going to skip the long intro, so we're going to hop into the things that we're going to need for this. First things first, I like to use a can of pressurized air, an anti-static cloth, and gloves. We're going to go ahead and clean all these off using a lint roller, and then we're going to go ahead, put our gloves on, and open up our archival binder where our film is stored. If you haven't seen how to cut and store your negatives, I will link a video to the last video that shows you how to do that. You can come back to this after and then come get your cut negatives. We're going to open up that binder, get our film negatives out, put that binder away just so it's out of the way and less bulky. We're going to grab our dedicated film holders, and we're going to go ahead and set these to the neutral position. I highly recommend that if you have the time with your flatbed scanner and if it has feet like these, to go through each level of the feet and scan the film, then check in Lightroom or another photo editing app which level is the sharpest, and then mark it with a roll of tape and the number. My film is the sharpest at 0, the normal starting position, so I just put a little piece of tape and put the number 0 there to memorize that if I want the sharpest scans, then I'm going to put it at the neutral position of 0. So once all those feet are set, I like to start this off with a can of pressurized air. Next, we're going to open up this dedicated film holder. Mine has 3 holders, so I can load 3 sleeves of film, and I'm going to put 18 shots in. We can use lens cleaning wipes if these are really dirty, but for this purpose, I didn't need to use them. I also sometimes don't perfectly clean my film holders because I find that a little bit of dust and scratches definitely adds to the uniqueness of film. Film is definitely not meant to be a perfect format, so having these little imperfections is really nice and adds a nice aesthetic. So we're going to take our archival sleeve and we're going to line it up next to our film holder. We're going to take those first 3 cut rolls and we're going to insert them into the film holder. We insert these under the little teeth and then line it up perfectly, and then we are going to pop this into place and make sure that this is held securely. If you want to get your film borders in the shots, then you can't use the dedicated film holders. You're going to have to put your film on dedicated glass, or you're going to have to put it on the flatbed scanner itself, but this is not recommended because your scanner has a distance that gets you the sharpest results, as mentioned before, and if you're putting it directly on the scanner, then you're not going to be at that sharpest distance away from the scanner. If you want to get those film borders in your shot, I'm going to link down below where you can go to get those glasses. If you don't want to do that, then just continue with this video and watch me use the film holder. So we're going to go ahead and flip our film holder over. We're going to make sure that our feet are at the position that we want. I have to reset a few of them to that neutral position again. And we can take our archival sleeve, put that away, and grab our scanner. If you have a scanner, make sure that cover stays on, keeps all that dust off. As you can see, I had a lot on mine. And then we're going to go ahead, connect this to the computer, and load up the Epson software. I personally use the Epson Scan software because for my purposes, all I'm doing is scanning the negative, and then I'm going to convert in later in Lightroom with Negative Lab Pro. But if you want to get accurate results straight out of the scanner, then look into some stuff like Silverfast Pro and other scanning softwares. So we're going to go ahead and grab that can of pressurized air and blast off the scanner again, get all that dust off, hit it with an anti-static cloth just to get everything off. Just clean the scanner as much as you can. I'm going to clean that film holder again, and then we're going to take those white arrows and line them up onto the scanner to make sure that the film holder is in the correct place. Then we could go ahead, close our scanner, and everything else is left to do on the computer. From here on out, everything that we have to do with the film scanner is completely repetitive. So as soon as this is done scanning, we're just going to take that film out, put it away, put the new film in the film holder, and repeat the process that is going to happen now. Hopping onto the computer, we have a few things that we're going to do. We're going to start off with a preview scan. This is going to let us see if our film is loaded correctly, and we can see our film negatives in the scanner now. Going to make this full screen so you guys can see. You can see that our scanner is the Epson V850. In these scan settings, we're not going to touch anything, and in the mode, we're going to make sure we're in photo mode. We want to make sure that we have the transparency unit here, and if you have that little white thing inside of your scanner that is blocking that transparency unit, you want to make sure to take that out. We're going to shoot color positive film here. This is going to make sure that the scanning software does not invert the negatives. If we set it for color negative film, then we would get positives out of this, but we want our negatives so we can convert them later in Negative Lab Pro. So we're going to leave that at color positive film. Our image type is going to be 48-bit color, and for my optical resolution of my scanner, which I can explain later, I'm going to set it to 4800. Our scanning quality is going to be high. Down at the bottom, we're going to want to make our image format TIFF. In the settings here, we can name our scans, and then we can also set the counter. I just name it scan. I don't have any better name, but you can put the date or something, and I will set the start number to 0 or 1, depending on if you like to start at 0 or 1. Here you can select the folder that these scans will go to. I've already pre-selected something, and that will be where my scans go to, and then I'll organize them later. In the advanced settings, we want to leave everything the same. The only thing that you can change is the digital ice technology. If you want to remove dust, you can set this to quality or speed. This is going to drastically increase the time that it takes to scan your photos, so I recommend not doing this, especially if you like a little bit of dust and scratches and uniqueness to the film like I explained in the beginning. I like that aesthetic, so I choose to leave the digital ice technology off. But it is something, if you want those picture perfect prints, then definitely turn this on and take the time to scan these films. Once everything's good with our settings, we're going to go ahead and start selecting our film. Here we're just going to over select a little bit because we can crop later, and for Negative Lab Pro we might want a little bit just in case we want to make some adjustments to that scan. So I'm going to go here, clicking the plus button on the side and add in that same frame, and then we're going to just keep duplicating and covering each frame. On the side we have the magnifying tool. This has the ability to zoom into one negative so you could really check it out. I don't see any point to this because you're going to be scanning all this film anyway, so you might as well scan it and then check it in a dedicated software. Plus you're going to have to run your preview scan again, so it's not really worth it to do that magnifying tool. Next up we have the eraser tool. If you make an error in selecting something, you can just erase that, or if you create too many, you can do that. I am just going to erase some just as an example, but usually I'm never using the eraser tool. And we've been using the plus tool for a long time now. That's just to add another frame. Once we have all these 18 shots selected, you might have less or more depending on your film holders. You're going to click that button that has the 18. That's going to select all your photos, and then you're going to hit the scan button, and that will start scanning all of those 18 selections. Then you can go to that location that you decided to scan your film at, and you can open all of those files in Lightroom. This is going to allow us to use the Negative Lab Pro software, which is something that you have to buy, but it definitely has more flexibility than the Epson Scan software. If you just want to scan the Epson Scan by itself and you don't want to pay extra, then just select that color negative film, and that's going to convert your film right there. We're going to check all of our film here, and then we're going to import these. Now we can go ahead and rotate a little bit. I am on Mac, so you're just going to use Command and the bracket key. That's going to rotate it to the correct location. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to crop this. I don't like to have my background more than 5% because that is the default buffer of Negative Lab Pro. So I just put a little bit of the background in there just to have it. And then we're going to go ahead and hit Control N on Mac, and that is going to open the Negative Lab Pro software. Then we're going to go over a little bit of these TIFF scan instructions here. If our scan is shot at gamma 1.8 or gamma 2.2, then we just need to go to step 2, which is to not white balance in Lightroom. So you can see here we did shoot it at gamma 2.2, so we do not want to impact that white balance. We cropped that border already, and then we're going to hit that convert negative button at the top. This is going to take a while to analyze the scan, and then it's going to show us a converted image here. I once again do not touch any of these settings. I like to do all my editing in Lightroom. The only thing that I'm going to do is make a copy, because if you don't make a copy, then all of your Lightroom settings will edit backwards. If you do make a copy, it makes a positive copy, which means you can adjust the Lightroom settings and they will impact the image exactly how it is if it was just a normal JPEG or RAW file. Next, we're just going to see where our photograph is. I found it. It's going to be labeled the exact same thing, except it's going to have a positive mark, and then you're going to see it has no settings set, and as you adjust those settings, it'll adjust it just like a normal photo. I'm going to go ahead here and play with something until I get a result that I want, and you guys can see my finished image. I like the little scratches and the dust there, but I also like to edit mine to have a little more pop of color like I saw in real life. Alright everyone, that's it. That's how to scan and edit your film. If you want a full tutorial on how to edit film scans, then stay subscribed and I'll have more film photography tutorials and photography tutorials in general on the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys come back, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.